Hey everyone, and welcome. So, if you're studying aviation, you know for a fact that not all airlines are built the same. They operate on some really different models. In this explainer, we're going to break all of that down to give you a super clear framework. And trust me, this is going to be a huge help if you've got an exam coming up. So, let's get right into it. Okay, so here's our flight plan for today. We're going to start with the absolute basics. What even is an airline? Then we'll take a look at some specialized players before we dive deep into the two titans of the industry, the no-frills low-cost carriers and the all-inclusive full-service carriers. And to finish, we'll wrap it all up with a side-by-side comparison that's going to make everything crystal clear. All right, first things first. Before we can start comparing all these different models, we have to be on the same page about what an airline actually is. Now, it sounds super simple, right? But the official definition has a couple of key details that everything else is built on. So, what's the real difference between a company that just owns a plane and a true airline? Well, it all comes down to two things. First, they're in the business of moving both people and stuff, passengers and cargo. But that second part is the real kicker. They have to have an official license, an air operator certificate, from a government authority. Without that piece of paper, you're just a private operator. You're not a public airline. Now, besides the huge commercial airlines we all know and fly on, the aviation world has some really fascinating specialists out there. These are the airlines that don't really sell individual tickets, but instead they serve very specific, often high-stakes needs. Let's take a look at a couple of them. So first up, we've got charter services. The whole concept here is pretty simple. Instead of just buying one seat, the client rents the entire plane. And as you can imagine, this completely changes the purpose and the economics of the flight. So why on earth would someone do this? Well, think about it. Private travel for a famous band, or maybe shipping a priceless piece of art, or even an urgent air ambulance mission. The goal here is definitely not about saving money. The entire model is built around three words you really should remember: flexibility, privacy, and speed. All right, our second specialized model is what's known as the combi carrier. The name pretty much gives it away. It's a combination. These aircraft are actually designed to carry both passengers and freight on the main deck all at the same time. The financial logic behind the combi is actually pretty clever, which is why it was so popular for a while. For any airline, an empty seat is just money lost forever. But with a combi, if passenger demand is low on a particular route, you can just fill that extra space with paying cargo. It's a fantastic way to balance the books and make some of those more remote routes financially viable. Okay, now we get to the big one. The model that completely turned the airline industry on its head. The low-cost carrier, or LCC. Seriously, if there's one model you absolutely have to understand for your exam, this is it. The entire philosophy of a low-cost carrier can be boiled down to just one word: unbundling. Think of it like this. Your basic ticket pays for one thing, and one thing only, getting you and your seat from point A to point B. Absolutely everything else, from a checked bag to even a bottle of water, is an optional extra you pay for. Their entire game is to have the lowest starting price you see online. This right here is the LCC playbook, and every single step is designed to slash costs. They fly simple point-to-point routes because having connections is expensive and complicated. They'll often use secondary airports, the ones further out of town, to avoid high landing fees. They turn their planes around incredibly fast because a plane on the ground isn't making money. And they sell tickets directly on their website to avoid paying travel agent fees. It's just a relentless, obsessive focus on efficiency, all while, of course, maintaining incredibly strict and standardized safety procedures. Now let's flip to the other side of the coin, the full-service carrier, or FSC. If the low-cost carriers are the revolutionaries, then you can think of the FSCs as the traditionalists, offering that bundled airline experience that was the standard for decades. So what exactly is in this bundle? Well, basically, it's all the stuff that low-cost carriers make you pay extra for. Your checked bag, a meal on the plane, the in-flight entertainment, even getting to choose your seat ahead of time, it's all typically included in the ticket price. You could almost think of it as an all-inclusive resort compared to the LCC's pay-as-you-go menu. See, a full-service carrier knows it just can't win a price war against a low-cost carrier. It's a losing battle. So instead of competing on cost, they compete on experience. And their secret weapon in this fight is differentiation. And nothing differentiates an airline more than its premium cabins. Business class isn't just about comfort, it's a high-margin product that attracts corporate travelers and justifies a much, much higher ticket price. And business class isn't just one thing. You can think of it as a ladder of increasing luxury. On a short flight, you might just get a wider recliner seat. The next step up is that angled lie-flat seat. It's good for a rest, but not quite perfect. The real gold standard for long-haul travel is the fully flat bed. And then, at the very peak, you've got airlines offering private suites with doors that close. Each step up that ladder represents a major jump in both price and perceived value. All right, let's put it all together now. For any exam, just defining these models isn't going to be enough. You need to be able to compare them, to contrast them. So let's put the two heavyweights, the LCC and the FSC, head to head. It really all boils down to two fundamentally different philosophies. The LCC is absolutely obsessed with cost. They unbundle everything and run a super efficient point-to-point operation just to offer the lowest possible price. The FSC, on the other hand, is obsessed with revenue, or what they call yield per seat. They bundle services, build these complex global networks, and use premium cabins to maximize how much they can earn from every single passenger. Two different goals, two completely different strategies. And this table right here, this pulls it all together. This is your ultimate cheat sheet. You can see all the clear distinctions, from the totally bespoke, contract-based charter model to the LCC's laser focus on cost leadership for budget travelers. And then on the other side, you've got the FSC's bundled premium approach designed to attract those high-yield business and leisure passengers. Each model has its own unique service concept, its own pricing strategy, and its own target customer. Go ahead and pause here if you need to, because this is the perfect summary for your revision. So we'll end with a thought for you to take away with you. It's not just about memorizing these models. It's about applying the knowledge, thinking about their different strategies. Which model do you think is more resilient? Which one is better equipped to handle shocks like a pandemic or a sudden spike in fuel prices? Is it the lean, efficient LCC or the diversified, premium FSC? Thinking about questions like this will take your understanding to a whole new level. Good luck with your studies.